What's going on? I want to throw this out there. If you guys are seeing this video, I appreciate it. It's really cool. I get on here, I talk about knives, I talk about, or I tie a couple knots or whatever, and I get a lot of engagement back, and it's really kind of a neat thing. So I like talking about things I like, and I like this. This is the CRKT CEO flipper, and it's a really good little knife. They also have a thumb stud version. I don't recommend that one. I had one for a little while, and I ended up giving it away because I couldn't get my big thumb in there and flick it open easily. I could do it, but it wasn't easy. I gave it to my buddy. He's got a little bit smaller hands than I do, and it worked great. But the flipper, you don't have to flick your whole wrist. It's not really one of those. I mean, it's really super easy. It's got ball bearings right there, and it just flicks open crazy easy. It's got a really kind of a unique feel for a flipper, but feels really good. So this is a $60 knife, and it just kind of seems like a little bit more of an expensive knife whenever you have it in your hand. I think if you were to just give this to somebody and they didn't have any idea, they would assume that it was more expensive than it was. But they do that because they do that by using glass reinforced nylon, which is cheap, and Aus 8, which is cheap. And I think that's awesome because that glass reinforced nylon looks great. It looks like it's a lot more expensive than it is. And the Aus 8, this is not a work knife. This is not something you're going to be, batoning wood with. So Aus 8's not a bad choice. If you're just opening letters with it or whatever. The use that I gave this all the time was to go to a steakhouse. I always like to kind of have a backup knife because there's nothing that drives me crazier than trying to cut a steak with a dull knife. This thing would be sharp and ready to go, and it looks nice next to a dinner plate. So really, really a good knife. Really kind of got an elegant, gentlemanly look to it. Really cool. The pocket clip is another thing to brag on. So I always just carry that right here where, everybody carries their knives. And it doesn't ever catch on anything. So that kind of gets an extra couple of bonus points for me because you're not going to lose your knife if it's not catching on stuff. So pocket clip looks really nice, functions really well. And it goes down in a shirt pocket like this. And it could be mistaken for a pin. So if you're, kind of dressing up, it's also kind of a nice accent, like on a little bit dressier shirt. It just kind of looks good. So I don't know, everything about this, I don't really have any complaints, hardly at all. The blade isn't necessarily centered in mine. It was for a long time, but it's not anymore. But there's so little space in there that it really doesn't bother me with this knife. With some knives, it does kind of bother me when the blade's not centered. With this one, not at all. There's just no wasted space. Most everything about this knife I like. So I'm going to give this knife an 8.8 out of 10. I think it's great. I think it's well worth the money. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. But if you guys are seeing this and you're into this sort of thing, if you don't mind, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and you'll see more of it. Appreciate it.